Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Partner in Focus. This session will be between Dia and txSync. As you guys probably, hopefully already know, these Partner in Focus sessions are a series that we've launched to bring more visibility to partners in the Dia ecosystem and explore their products and highlight the technical collaboration that's occurring between our teams. And so if any of you are joining for the first time or unfamiliar with Dia is a cross-chain data and Oracle platform serving 40 chains across the industry. And Dia specializes in the sourcing and delivery of customizable data feeds, both on-chain and off-chain. And so today, I'm really excited for the call ahead. We are welcoming on the txSync team, which has developed a suite of tools that are improving the developer and user experience on ZkSync with really truly some innovative products that we'll get into today. And so on behalf of txSync, I know we're joined here by Filip, who is head of product at txSync. Filip, how's everything going on your end today? Can you hear me well? Yep, Filip, loud and clear. Great to have you.
Sorry for this, the usual microphone stuff.
No problem. Don't I know it? We've gone through the bouts here with the spaces, but hopefully that's behind us. Definitely. How's everything going today, Filip?
Going pretty good. Thanks for the invitation. Thanks for introduction. I'm happy to be here and share what we'll be working together for the last couple of weeks or months.
Definitely, and I think it's a really exciting time to have you on here because, you know, this is really the time at which you guys are launching full speed, pretty much everything you've been working on for months now. So what a better time than to have you on Partner in Focus than now. Maybe we can start, Filip, by just a quick round of an introduction on your end. Can you give everybody in the audience some background on perhaps who you are and how long you've been working with the txSync team?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So hi, everyone. My name is Filip. I'm head of product at txFusion, specifically working with the txSync team. We're a team that's developing products in the txFusion company, and today we'll share more about what those products are. Basically, my background is in software engineering. So I worked a couple of years in AI. After that, I transitioned to crypto, to the blockchain industry, working there for a lot of projects here and there, and then finally, a year and a half ago, joined Ines and the rest of the team on building txFusion and txSync. So that's kind of the short intro.
Awesome. No, thank you for that background. And maybe we can just dive right into a little bit more background on txSync, txFusion. You know, we're already throwing a lot of names around here, and we'll address a bunch of the different products on the call today. So maybe we can just start with a general baseline of understanding for everybody in the audience. Can you give us some background on what is txSync? And what is the origin story of how long this team's been building, and how did this all come together?
Sure. So I would first mention that maybe we should start with txFusion because txFusion is a company behind txSync. How we started with txFusion is that Ines, our founder, she's been working in multiple different spaces, multiple different areas with multiple different chains in her past, and she's been seeing a lot of opportunities in the new upcoming chains. One of them, which was ZkSync, and we started working with Meta Labs, company behind ZkSync, pretty much a year and a half ago, I would say, in a really strong partnership. And that kind of a partnership and that kind of insight into what they're building gave us more and more confidence about what ZkSync can be. So for the last period, I would say we strongly oriented in that direction, and that's how txFusion started to be. We started to look what opportunities are there on ZkSync and how we can help building useful tools in order to help its development. Somewhere around the middle of that time, we figured out that building product is something that we should definitely strive for, because before that we started with tools. We started with a bunch of let's say basic tools in order to have developers join and onboard on ZkSync. So that were like hard hat tools, and then we developed some SDKs. And then as our partnership grew, we developed even more and more complex stuff. And finally, at the end, we decided to launch our own products based on all experience and the knowledge we accumulated so far in on developing on ZkSync. So that's how tx team started to be, and that was the origin of our product team.
Thank you, Philip. And for anybody in the audience who might not be entirely as familiar with ZkSync as you are, perhaps arguably nobody is as familiar with ZkSync as you are as head of product on TX Fusion that's been working on this chain hands on for so long. Maybe can you give us a little bit of background on what is ZkSync? Of course, maybe add some what are the benefits that you've experienced as a developer on ZkSync? What are some of the unique advantages that devs experience there? And you gave a little bit of background on why or how this partnership between you guys and Matter Labs, the team that's the foundation behind ZkSync, came about. But are there any other details about why you chose this chain as opposed to perhaps any other chain to start building out these products?
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. So basically, we choose ZkSync for a bunch of different reasons. ZkSync, as probably most of you know, is a L2 solution on top of Ethereum network. So it inherits the security of Ethereum network with adding a bunch of interesting features on top of it. What we like with ZkSync is a couple of things. One is their mission to scalability to anyone. Basically, Matter Labs as a company has a philosophy of everyone being able to use blockchain, but not having the friction that we usually encounter when we use Ethereum chain. And that's something that layer 2 systems can, rollups can really help with, and that's how they're oriented, and we really like that. We like this because of the opportunity to experiment and to build a really different products that are possible when you have a benefit such as, let's say, lower gas fees. So L2s usually, they offer much lower gas fees when you send in a transaction, when you're developing something, which is really, really useful when we want just to start. The second thing we really like with ZkSync is that they're really focused on developers. So that part of the question was, I think, is the main one, because from the beginning, ZkSync was oriented to, hey, let's see how we can make this experience for the developers as easy as possible. By which then you get really good applications, and then you have a ton of users who can use those applications. So I think that developer focus building for a chain like ZkSync, which is one of, let's say, of the biggest chains right now, is something that we really valued, and that helped us, to choose it as the main partner and main chain. On top of that, as I previously said, we're getting familiar with ZkSync for a lot of time now, and we saw some technical components of why we think it can scale. Basically, it's scalability. You can read more about ZkStack, about hyperchains, about hyperbridges, ZkCredo. Those are all interesting terms that I encourage you to learn more about, and you will see what's the future potential of ZkSync as a network is.
Thank you for that background. It really is interesting to hear your insights into how this was well positioned for you guys in terms of developer tooling, and clearly you saw that there's an opening here also for product market fit for the products that you're building. So maybe we can take some time to dive into exactly what those products are and why we're here today in terms of the collaboration between our teams, and discuss and dive a little bit more into txBridge and txPortal. So for anybody in the audience, these are two of the products within the txSync suite, two different use cases that txSync is building out on ZkSync. And so, Philip, can you give us some background on what are these products, and what is the use case behind these products?
Yeah, sure. One other thing that's really interesting to mention when talking about ZkSync is that you will often heard that account abstraction terms and paymaster terms when people talk about ZkSync. And this is important because this is natively supported on chain. I'm telling this now because this is one of the bases why we decided to build all of our products, basically, this account abstraction and paymaster support. Dillon, what you mentioned, so txPortal and txBridge are our first products. We see them as a one group. So basically, if you go to txSync.io, you will see both of them. We started with them because we really think that for any ecosystem that wants to scale to millions of users or even more, bridging is something that's really important. But before you can bridge, you should have a kind of an overview of your assets and have a way to send or receive them, and to have a way to just view them as assets that you would use on your mobile, on your computer screen, that are not related to the crypto assets. So that's why we built txPortal. So txPortal is basically a component, a product that allows you to better first view and then manage your assets by sending them to the other L2 accounts. txBridge is something that goes a step further and enables you to interact with the Ethereum chain. I mentioned already that ZkSync has a primary goal to be a secure chain, which means that if something happens on ZkSync, you can always bridge to your Ethereum main network. And our txBridge allows just that. There are a couple of other bridges on top of ZkSync that I should mention that, but what we are striving with txBridge is to have a simplicity of using it. We don't want for people to have to log in or connect their wallet or click a bunch of different buttons just to send a simple transaction. We want for people to have an intuitive way of typing a couple of numbers, clicking a few buttons, and that's it. Your transaction is done, and bridged either from Ethereum net to the ZkSync network, or vice versa if you want to bring your assets back to Ethereum network. And that's the basis of the chain of the bridge, of the txBridge. Now, additional step we did with txBridge so far is that we really wanted to integrate this Paymaster feature with the whole product, and that's where our collaboration comes in place. So basically, for those who don't know, Paymaster allows you two things, primary things. One is to pay gas fees for someone else that's using the transactions on ZkSync, and the other one is not have to use ETH as a gas fee token, but to use any kind of token so you can pay gas fees in that token. And we started with this. We thought this was really interesting idea, and our bridge currently supports paying gas fees in multiple different tokens. We can go through over them later during the talk, but the main point is Paymaster feature is now currently available on txBridge.
Okay, so that is, in my opinion, a really cool product as well that I really want to dive into. Let me just take a second here to review the three things that you just addressed here, just to repeat, make sure everybody's on the same page. So we have txPortal that allows you to view and manage your assets by sending them to other L2 accounts. So really, this is more of a user experience product for maybe perhaps. Does this relate to the underlying txBridge? So this is like the user front-end interface behind txBridge, or are these two components not that interconnected?
Yeah, it's just that, as you said. So in order to bridge something, you have to first, have a homepage. You have to see what you want to bridge, and that's why we named it Portal. You have a portal into everything you want to do later on the ZkSync network. One of them is a bridging transactions.
Very cool. And then of course, as you just referenced, the bridge enables you to interact with main Ethereum chain and other EVM chains. And so the last thing which we'll also get into is this Paymaster, kind of a different type of product than I've ever even really seen before, which is paying gas fees on ZkSync in different tokens. Let's stay here for a second on the topic of txPortal and txBridge. I think, maybe one of a very common question among crypto users is, how can we evaluate the security measures between different bridges? You mentioned that there's a few different types of bridges, a few different products for bridging on ZkSync. Maybe can you give our audience some insights that you might have over the years of, what can we look at? How can we evaluate, which bridges are more trustworthy? What are the metrics that we should be considering when deciding what bridge to use on ZkSync, but maybe just also in general also would be very helpful?
Yeah, sure. That's also a great question. So basically, if you follow the Matter Labs and ZkSync in the last couple of months, they've been clear in their mission to open source as much of their technology as possible to the broad audience, to the broad developer audience, let's say. With that, they actually open source their underlying bridge and portal contracts, which was really good, which means that anyone can use that kind of code and then rely on top of it and use it as a base to build their own stuff. We also went with this approach, which means that in terms of security, we're actually relying on what Matter Labs as a company behind the whole chain already provided. This is really important because this is the part of what user experience, but also it's part of the smart contracts that are native to the ZkSync network, and then they're audited and they're definitely secure, much more secure than any third party would bring. I should mention that there are also third party bridges But what we've been focusing on is to build a native bridge, which means using all this technology that Matter Labs provided in order to have this as secure bridge as possible. We take security as a top priority here. You'll see that in discussions on our Discord. We always provide with a, we want to go with the transparency, and everything that happens with the bridge, we are the first one to, report. People have been, questioning about like, if there is some problems with all the different bridges in the on L2s and so on. But so far, I would say that none of them were anything that would endanger the security of the bridge of txBridge, and also then on the contracts that were built by Matter Labs. It's also important for me to note that Matter Labs has multiple different challenges and contests where people actually try to hack their smart contracts and their system as a whole, where they offer a lot of let's say rewards, but so far their systems really proved as a secure ones, and we're happy that we can build on top of this security.
That's great, and I do think it's interesting how you highlighted and connected the relationship between txSync and Matter Labs, and how Matter Labs is also investing resources into ensuring the security of bridges that they're working with. I think obviously it's very important for different chains to be assuring and making sure that the bridges on their chain are secure. So also some interesting insights there. I like to take away some of the also business development implications of different things on these calls, and so I think that's relevant too. Is the relationship between you guys and ZkSync is interesting, and further ensuring that you're aligned with their goals as well. And that it's kind of a mutual relationship there, and ensuring the security of your bridge. That's interesting. Let's talk about tokens support. And maybe can you tell us some more about what tokens you're currently supporting and what the process looks like for adding more tokens? Can you give our audience some insights? Can you currently bridge all tokens, or is it limited to certain pairs? How does this work?
Yeah, sure. So token integration, let's first zoom out and say that for the Paymasters, as we mentioned already, you can pay tokens in a different, you can pay gas fees in different tokens except ETH token. We think this is really important because if you look at the whole blockchain industry, you will find a lot of use cases where people use one or two tokens. They have a specific product they like, or they have a specific company they work for, and they're not interested in having 100 tokens in their wallet. But in order to interact with the chain, let's say the Ethereum chain or any L2 chain, they have to have some ETH in their wallet in order to use it, because you obviously pay gas fees in ETH, right? Now, what ZkSync did is they enabled on the native level to support this kind of payment in other tokens. In order to do this, you have to create your Paymasters, okay? Which means that you have to have some kind of development experience in order to make this work. We actually did exactly this at txSync. We developed our own Paymasters, which then we connected with txPortal and txBridge, so that people who use it can pay tokens, can pay gas fees in different tokens. This was not too easy of a process, and we can connect this still into txSuo later as our second product, or as our next product. But my point is that we started with the first token, which was USDC. That means that at the beginning you had just two options. You had one option at the beginning, which was ETH, and then after we introduced USDC, now everyone who uses txPortal and txBridge can pay their gas fees in USDC. Just a couple of days ago, we announced our second collaboration, which is with Storage team, and I also want to thank both Storage and the DIA team in helping with this, because of this collaboration, we also introduced a Storage token as a new token that you can pay gas fees in. Which means that, for example, imagine that you have just Storage token on L2 on ZkSync, and you want to bridge it back to L1. Well, before this bridge, you needed to convert your storage, some of your storage to ETH, then have it in your wallet, then pay the gas fee, and then have the storage on L1. Instead, now you can just come to our bridge, click 3 buttons, and after that, you're bridging everything with just Storage tokens. The same is for USDC. Regarding your question about token support, what we really want to do with txSync and txBridge is to expand this kind of offer of what tokens we want to do want to have, And this is something where we are definitely not stopping. You will see a couple of more announcements pretty soon about the other tokens. But yeah, the process of token integration is something that we're really looking forward, and we really want to thank your team for helping in this process to be possible.
Thank you, Filip. It's definitely been an absolute pleasure from my end, from our end here. It's really cool to work with teams that are building out such cool products, such innovative applications. I mean, I really think that this, probably everybody in the audience can relate here, how ideal it would be to pay gas fees in any token of your choice, rather than having to go and, I'm always adding more ETH to my MetaMask because, transactions are high and I'm always running out of ETH there, and so I'm sending more just to be able to bridge or cover the fees for a transaction. I love this use case. I think it's great, and so interesting to use. Start how you reference. You're starting with USDC and then storage. I think there's a lot to dive into. I think it's maybe even relevant to get into more about storage itself. Why? Maybe I don't want to go too much over time here on this one, but can you give us some background on why was storage a good first partner for you in this one? Where were the synergies? Why did it connect and make sense to enable gas fees in the storage token in this instance?
Sure. I think the storage example is one of the best examples for this use case, because storage is you can of course take a look more at their product, but they have a specific product we know with storage sharing on a blockchain, and their users usually have just storage token in their wallets. And this is the exact use case that I described earlier and that you just mentioned. There is a friction of swapping your tokens to ETH and then swapping back and then doing all of that. And they were really happy to when they heard that what we are offering is something that we've been looking for so far, for a long time now. And then the synergy, was obvious, and the collaboration was obvious there, because what they as a company wanted to offer to their own users, to their own, let's say, developers too, to use that storage token as the only token in this whole ecosystem, which they couldn't do before. And with txBridge and with txSuo as the next product we built, this is definitely possible, and we're really happy to have them as a partner that is, paving the path of this token usage on ZkSync.
Totally. I think it is a really good example. And, you added some insights there into how this will take away, or rather abstract some of the complexity of using these applications, and how this might, make it easier for applications to onboard Web 2 users, non-crypto native users, and really make the user experience across many different applications a lot easier, because you will only have to use theoretically the one token to both use the protocol but also to cover the fees for it. So I really agree and think this is a really cool product. Sorry, I didn't want to cut over you there. Is there anything you wanted to add there?
No, I just wanted to mention that you're exactly right. That's kind of the usage that we are aiming for.
It's very cool, and I'm excited to keep my eye on this and continue to see what new types of applications are working with you guys to enable this. This is really cool. So let's talk about the pricing of assets, as this is sort of the next. It's a good transition here to highlight the collaboration between our teams and maybe address some of the ways that DIA is supporting your needs in terms of pricing these assets that are being used, across the bridge and across the txSuo Paymaster product. You mentioned actually earlier that you'd give our audience a little bit more background on exactly txSuo. You referenced it a little bit, but just again to make sure we're all clear, can you tell us more about txSuo? And then maybe get into, what is the role that DIA has been able to provide in terms of supporting your products?
Of course. So txSuo is a new product we launched recently. The main goal of txSuo is to enable for anyone to create paymasters in just a few clicks. As I mentioned earlier, creating a paymaster ZkSync is kind of an effort. ZkSync, MetaLabs and ZkSync, they have really good documentation and really good examples. But even with that, as a developer, you have to get familiar with the concept, and then look through those examples, and then write the code yourself, and then test it, and then audit it, and then a bunch of other stuff in order to make sure your code is ready for the production. In order to use the Paymaster as we do in the portal and bridge, txPortal, txBridge. We wanted to simplify this. We wanted to make sure that anyone who's using ZkSync can create a Paymaster in just a couple of clicks. And that's what txSuo is. So basically, if you go to our website, txSuo.io, you will see just a simple form. You enter a bunch of different labels, click a bunch of different buttons, and you're set. You created a Paymaster for yourself. Now, why is this important in terms of our collaboration and the tokens that we've been discussing so far? Is that because for the Paymaster, you can actually choose which Paymaster type you want to create. So, for example, imagine that you want to build the USDC type of Paymaster, as we did for the txBridge. Well, for now, you just need to go to the txSuo, enter the name of your Paymaster, select USDC, and click deploy. And that's it. This product is definitely oriented more towards developers, but what we think is that the developers are those who then, at the end, enable users a bunch of different applications in order to use this chain better. Now, for both txSuo and txBridge and txPortal, it's really important that you get the right pricing of the token you use on the chain. And when we started thinking about this, when we started brainstorming about this, we've been searching for the best oracle in order to get the price feed for all these different tokens. And we couldn't find anyone who was on ZkSync that was really reliable and really transparent and really that fit all the needs that we had in order to build those two products. And that's how we after some search we stumbled upon the DIA team, and that's how we approached you guys, if you remember. And then we have a bunch of different discussions, and after that we realized, hey, this is the perfect partner that we've been looking for so far in order to have everything that we want to build now and even in the future. And just again, I would really like to highlight that collaboration as a really, really good collaboration that we had so far, and that we even plan to extend pretty soon. But yeah, DIA team provided as a great partner who then allowed us to get this price feeds, to get these token prices in order to integrate them in all of our products. So that's kind of the origin story and how we get so far.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing the context on that, Filip. And for anybody in the audience, I feel like often on these calls, I might really skip over really what an oracle does. And I know from personal experience, in the first few years of my crypto journey here, an oracle isn't really the thing that, makes the most sense or connects, first. It's not the easiest thing to understand necessarily. So for anybody in the audience who's interested in learning more about what an oracle is and the role that DIA plays here, kind of as Filip just addressed, the oracle is really the component that is delivering the information of what the price of these assets are on chain, so that protocols such as txSync can actually use those prices on chain for the functioning of their protocol. So, as Filip was referencing, in order to pay transaction fees in storage, you need to actually know what the price of storage is, right, in order to actually enable that transaction fee. And different dApps, various dApps, are actually, unfortunately, limited in their ability to access this type of data without oracles, without any external, let's say, data bridges or data software that's delivering this information. And so that's the role that DIA plays as an oracle. I think maybe it's helpful to hopefully hear my insights here and to add more context. I think I can do a better job at that on these partner and focus sessions. And so, I think also to add a little bit more into what Filip said here with our role is that the reason we are able to provide support for assets like storage, and why we're a really good team, or rather, I think why our teams have a lot of strong synergies here, is that txSync is a team that's looking to not just, support the blue chip tokens, the Bitcoin, the ETH, the USDC, and whatnot, but they're partnering with tokens and teams that, extend all around and all across the crypto industry and on ZkSync. And so at DIA, what we do specifically and unique is we source data differently from other oracles. We get our price data for these assets directly from the decentralized exchanges and centralized exchanges across different chains and across the industry. And because of this sourcing technique or approach, this is the reason we can support a longer list of tokens than most other oracles. This is the reason that we go ecosystem native in our asset coverage and have more long tail asset support. And so I think that this is, just the very beginning of our relationship here. In fact, I know it is because Filip has been a really fun, I'd say, colleague or person to connect with at a partnering team because of how hard and how much he wants to push to create new partnerships and continue to pump out new partnerships for his team. And that's what I like to do at my team. So I wanted to give some context there into more details on the role that Dia plays here. And I'm really excited to see where we can take this in the future as you guys support more tokens.
Yeah, I would also just want to add that it's really great. Why we also collaborate with you guys is that the way of how you collect those prices is really transparent. We also looked how others do it, but it's also some kind of it can be some kind of a shady way of, here's the price where we got it from some unknown source, but you guys are fully transparent in how you do it. And this is really important to us in order to continue that transparency to our users. And that's one of the, major, I would say, advantages and parts of our collaboration.
Absolutely, I completely agree. Thank you for referencing that. It's funny because you actually even mentioned that earlier when I asked you to give some more details into how to evaluate, different bridges on ZkSync, and you referenced the transparency of yours and your focus on that, and that definitely aligns with our goals. In fact, the whole reason Dia was originally created was to introduce a new level of transparency end to end within the Oracle stack. So that's really definitely a cool synergy between our teams also. Maybe let's look into anything else, any other products. We spent a lot of time discussing txBridge, txPortal, and now txSuo, as these are the reasons we're really here to discuss the collaboration today. But I know you guys are busy shipping. You guys are really, providing this comprehensive product suite. Is there anything else, any other products or tools that you guys offer that we didn't cover that you'd like to address?
Well, currently no, but as you said, we really want to make this experience in ZkSync, available to anyone. We think that a couple of those technologies, such as Paymaster, is really important in that regard, and that's why we've been, thinking, brainstorming, and actually building a lot of different stuff that will probably come really soon in order to, enable this kind of usage of, let's say, Paymaster on ZkSync. I cannot give too much details now, but you should expect that in the near future, we have some really cool, let's say, demonstrations of how you can use products that we built specifically with txSuo. We're actually trying to build something like a playground that people can, just experiment when they create Paymaster, what they can do with, and that's something that I'm really excited about and we'll be launching soon. But at the same time, we're actually also looking long term. If you look at the long-term path of, let's say, ZkSync as a network, as a chain, then you see a bunch of other interesting, let's say, use cases. And I would just encourage for the audience here to learn more about hyperbridges and hyperchains, because that's also something that we as a company are really interested in, how we can work and how we can scale in the future. But yeah, that's how much I can share for now.
Well, I'm not gonna pick anything else out of you or force anything, but I'd like to stay here on this topic for a second and continue to look forward as we see, the industry evolves pretty much by the minute. I would almost say, everybody says like a day in this crypto space feels like a year in real life. Let's look forward for a second. Where do you see txSync in 3 years? Do you guys plan or do you expect to build? To add more products to your product suite, or will these really be the products that you focus on continuing to build out? And then I guess the other question that's interesting is, and I don't want to pick away too much here, and maybe just let me know if it's too early to answer this question, but do you have any plans or agenda to eventually go multi-chain or to, stay in the ZkSync ecosystem?
Interesting question. So for some kind of a future roadmap, as I mentioned at the beginning, txSync is actually a platform. We see it as a all-in-one platform for anyone who uses and builds on top of ZkSync. That means that for the platform, we need to enable a lot of different, let's say, tools, many products, in order for people to really be comfortable of using just one place. Instead of going to 10 different websites and using 10 different tools, our goal is to have that all under one umbrella. And for people, even for the beginners who are just getting familiar with ZkSync, and also for the advanced users, who are doing magic stuff, magic development stuff, we want to be a place for them to come to. And that's kind of the main focus of txSync as a one platform in the next period. And then regarding your part of the question regarding multi-chain, I'll say that for now, we'll definitely focus on ZkSync. We have a really strong collaboration with Metal Labs, the company behind it, and we are not gonna, just jump around other chains as opportunities arise. We want to build on ZkSync as long as ZkSync has a potential, and I think ZkSync's time is, it's coming. We're still pretty early. We see a lot of benefits that that are not there, that we can build, that others can build, that we can integrate with. And so I'm really want to keep the whole team, my team, but also our company, focused on this in the next, let's say, some period of time. So yeah, that's how much I can share.
Absolutely. No, thank you for that. And at Dia, we definitely are, believers in the vision for ZkSync. I agree with you. Obviously not, there's no financial discussions going on here, but I do believe that the time is yet to come for ZkSync in terms of just development activity and really seeing this chain even more so come to life than it already is. I think that the metrics on this on across the ZkSync ecosystem are only continuing to grow. So I definitely agree with that, and I like the focus to continue building out your products there. And crypto, I think it's an industry where it's easy to be attracted to shiny things and opportunistic in terms of what's trending right now, today, immediately. But, I'm really interested in teams that are actually building for what is popular and what's really catching speed in the future. I think that that's really one of the unspoken skill sets here is, strategies is, building for the future in this space. You really are behind if you're building for the present. So just wanted to share that. Cool. I mean, yeah, we're going up on 45 minutes here. I think this has been a really educational session. Thank you, Filip, in advance, and definitely thanks to the whole txSync here team. I see Inez in the audience giving a bunch of thumbs up. Thanks for the active participation and comment there. It's been great working with you guys. I just want to wrap up and close things up here and ask if there's anything missing. I know I already kind of referenced this, but anything that I didn't discuss that you'd like to close off with in terms of closing thoughts? And, if not, like for anybody in the audience who wants to take next steps and learn more, what's the best way to stay up to date with txSync? If they want to use the Bridge, Paymaster, or Portal, where can they go? So I know I'm asking a bunch of things all at once here, but any closing thoughts and how to stay up to date?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I would just encourage everyone to learn more about ZkSync as a network. I think it has a really special features that can be, let's say, more visible as time goes on. We, as txFusion, and especially with txSync as a product, want to build useful products on top of that. We're not interested in, pumping up schemes or just making money. We're interested in building something that people actually use. And with that, we just started with txPortal and Bridge and txSuo that we talked about. I think we covered them in great detail. I think that your audience will be happy to hear that some other products are coming pretty soon. And I'm really happy that we partnered since the beginning and continue that collaboration so far. And as you said, also we have a lot of things to do in the near future. So also thanks again to the whole team. In terms of people finding us, you can just type txsync.io. That is the main website. It will lead you to txBridge, txPortal, and also txSuo. We have a Discord, so if anyone wants to ask more questions or is interested in something else as collaboration, please reach out there. And yeah, we're on Twitter. We're all over the place. Basically, we have our blogs, so you can find us in the usual places. And thanks again, Dillon, for inviting me here and the whole company to collaborate with. Really happy to be here. Really happy that we can build together. And yeah, talk to you soon, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah, my pleasure. I know that just from our end, we have a few exciting things in the pipeline in terms of next steps here in our partnership. So, yeah, I think this was a great time to have this session to learn all about the really useful and interesting tools you guys are building on ZkSync, and only more to come here. So, thanks again, Filip. Thanks again to the whole txSync team. Really great session. Thank you, everybody in the audience who attended for another episode of Partner in Focus. Of course, you know how to reach us at Dia. Give us a follow if you're interested in more of these sessions, and head over if you're interested also to diadata.org/ecosystem, and let us know who you want to see on the next episode of Partner in Focus. I'd love to have the txSync team back when we can revisit this, maybe in, like, let's say 6 months or 12 months, right? Actually, 12 months in crypto will be maybe like too long. That'll be like 10 years.
Yeah,
We'll be retired by then. Only kidding. But
yeah.
but let's bring this back soon and see where we're at in a couple months from here. Really exciting stuff. Only more to come. Thanks again, Filip. Thanks everybody for joining. And until next time, we'll see you on the next episode of Partner in Focus. Take care, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.